It starts as a game, a gathering of friends. And slowly, as some begin to sit back, others stand out. The joy of playing turns to passion. And as the skills develop, so do the minds. And they begin to seek challenges, peers, and mentors to further their abilities and opportunities. The love and passion becomes a thirst for people in a place
we're going to show everybody else in the country who we are.
That will embrace and push a hunger for excellence.
Blitz, the ACC.
And to be in and among champions. These are the dreamers, scholars, leaders. These are the guides, teachers, mentors. And this is the opportunity, the challenge, the place. This is Pitt Beyond the Script.
Another sun-filled day here at Heinz Field.
Beautiful day for football, and we're fortunate to be here today to be able to bring this game to you.
There's a lot of people around the country don't get to play today. They don't get to do what you do, guys. You have an opportunity to go out there and make a statement again, because this is 2020, and you get to choose what we do with it. 1-0!
And we are underway here at Heinz Field.
DeVito now flips out of the pocket. He'll be sacked. DeVito keeps it and runs into a wall of Panthers. He'll lose a yard.
Pickett steps up in the pocket, throws deep, and a touchdown for the Panthers. Jordan Addison.
Let's go.
Pocket collapses again, and down goes the quarterback again.
We back, baby.
This defensive line is stacked. Might be one of the best and most physical up front in the entire ACC.
Quarterback sneak, and Kenny Pickett is into the end zone for a Panther touchdown.
We're in the red zone. Let's come back this second half and be just as freaking dominant.
We finished the second half. You got opportunities, you got to make it. 1, 2, 3.
Rashad Weaver in for the sack.
Welcome back, Mr. Weaver.
DeVito back to pass, setting up a screen and intercepted.
And that ball was picked off by Paris Ford.
That's a big-time play by a big-time player. Hey, we can spring this. We can spring this.
Just when we think you stopped a couple of these top targets for Kenny Pickett, another one shines.
Shotgun. It's Pickett. Play action pass. Throws over the middle. Has a receiver. Touchdown. Panthers to Jared Wade.
Another day at the office.
Hammered down.
I mean, DeVito got planted. Panther defense has been all over him.
This time DeVito hands
Ball
off,
came
ball
out.
is loose. Panthers jump on it at the 18-yard line. And Panthers are going to go into kneel down.
Let's get it, baby. That's a W.
Everything is better today. Crank it up. The emotion. We feed off each other on that sideline. We feed off each other. We just beat a rush on that sideline.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Pitt Beyond the Script alongside head coach Pat Narduzzi. I'm Casey Garrow at Pitt Studios. Coach, 2-0 on the season. First ACC game of the season. You come out with a win. Initial thoughts after Syracuse?
You know what? I think as a football coach and as a staff, you're happy to come out of that thing with a win. You know, we know Syracuse is always going to play a tough game. You know, we talked earlier in the week about it being a dogfight, regardless of how good they are, how good we are. You know, they were going to find a way to stay in it, and they did. And we found a way just to kind of let them stay in it as well. I think it was more about, you know, what we did than what they did as the game progressed. You know, I would have liked to have knocked them out a little bit harder, but a win is a win.
171 yards, that's all they managed. 69 off one big play. How do you grade your defense?
You know, they get a winning effort. I mean, overall, we had one mess up in the coverage. And, sometimes that happens. You hope it doesn't happen very often. You'd like them to have to make a play, not just give them one. But, they played awful well. I mean, Coach Bates and that defense staff has done a tremendous job of coaching those guys, getting them in position to make plays, and our kids are making plays.
It's hard not to mention veteran Rashad Weaver. After a year off, he comes in. It looks like he doesn't miss a beat. He has that big play on 4th and third quarter.
And the Cuse is going to run a play. Here comes Rashad Weaver in for the sack. Down on 4th down, it will be Pitt football.
Again, evaluate his performance.
Rashad was awesome. He really was. And, you saw it in practice. The first couple of days he was rusty, but you saw it all fall, what he was capable of, And, he came out and did it. I mean, some guys, it takes a couple games to get the rust off. And I'm sure he'll show, a little bit of rust this weekend. Every game's a little bit different, but he is an excellent athlete. He's healthy. Our trainers and doctors did a great job of rehabbing him, getting him back to where he is right now. And he's, as we told him last year, he's going to be better than he was.
His leadership, too. What does he bring to that line?
He's a very vocal guy. His leadership and his intelligence, I've said that, for years now, just about how smart he is when he sees things. He's got really big eyes. Some guys have narrow vision. He can peripherally see a lot of different things coming at him, and he does an outstanding job playing football.
I'm harping on the defense. It's hard not to, but I also want to talk about not only the D-line with guys like Kalijah Cansey, but also your linebacker core. Servassier Dennis, Cam Bright, they led the team in tackles in that area from the linebackers. How do you rank this defense? You've been here 6 years now, compared to past ones that you've had.
You know what? After 2 games, they're good. If anybody's going to rank them after 2 games, I look at some of the NCAA rankings and people have no games, some got 2 games. I mean, what are we doing here? They're good, but we got to continue to maintain. And I think, you evaluate at the end of the year. Right now, you're just, evaluating one game. What did you do right? What did you do wrong? You're fixing the mistakes and you're moving on. But our defense staff's done an incredible job.
Just quickly, Paris Ford, back-to-back interceptions from week 1 to week 2. What type of energy does he bring to your defense?
Pressure coming on the edge, trying to find a screen. And that ball was picked off. Intercepted by Paris Ford. Read it right, came up and made the pick.
Paris is the energy. I think it's the Ford energy. He gives all the energy to our defense. Our guys feed off of Paris. He had an excellent pick in a different coverage that we ran where he was actually rolled down, playing the boundary corner, and that I guess they were trying to really run a screen over there, and he was able to scoop it up. But he's got a lot of opportunities to make plays in the boundary. That's why he's there in the run game and the passing game.
Your team had some trouble, obviously, with penalties and key moments, and the kicking unit wasn't how it normally is. Do you address that in practice before Louisville, or do you just expect them to execute again on Saturday?
Oh, it gets addressed. It got addressed Sunday night. It'll get addressed Tuesday and so forth through the week. We talk about it every day. And again, it was just on the punt team, just a lack of focus, I guess. I mean, there's no reason not to line up on the line of scrimmage if you're supposed to be on the line of scrimmage and off the line of scrimmage. And there were some other penalties you look at and say, I don't know if it's a penalty. There's a little bit of both out there.
I want to talk quickly about your running back group. They eclipsed 100 yards against a very tough Syracuse defense. Just how do you evaluate that room after Saturday?
It's a work in progress. Let's put it that way. It's not where we want it to be. We're still looking for that guy to tote the rock and be the man back there. I'm not sure we found him yet, but he's in that room somewhere. We just got to have him come pop out and say, I'm here, and wave his hand and take it over. Looking for a guy to take it over.
That 4-minute offense at the end, though, you were able to depend on the run. I'm sure that was at least a bright spot towards the end of the game.
No doubt about it. I mean, we wanted to get in that 4-minute offense, and our offense, we got in the huddle, me and Coach Whip, and said, listen, we're going to end the game right here. Defense does not go back on the field. And they ended the game with being able to run the ball and then got in that victory formation.
Kenny Pickett to Jordan Addison once again, 27-yard touchdown.
Pickett again back to pass. Under a little bit of pressure, steps up in the pocket, throws deep, and a touchdown for the Panthers. Kenny Pickett to Jordan Addison.
He's able to rely on guys like Addison, DJ Turner. How does that chemistry improve from week to week?
Yeah, I think it's gotten better every week. I mean, once a guy catches the pass and scores for you, and DJ had some great catches that weren't right on the money. So he showed to be money that way. I mean, quarterbacks want to throw it to guys that are catching the football, and I think the cohesion out of those guys has gotten better every week and every practice, really.
All right, well, we'll talk about Louisville a little bit later on the show when we resume on Pitt Beyond the Script.
Good job. We did it. We back, baby. Mission every week. 1-0. Today was a very fun experience. First impressions of the uniform, I love it. The texture of the helmets, the Black Panther head, I love everything about it. The cathedral, it's home base to all of campus. You can see it anywhere, so it's something everyone notices and recognizes. It's like the cornerstone of Pitt, you know? So just to have it embedded into our jerseys, it just lets you know that we're all about our school.
Ready? And action!
I'm DeMar Hamlin, and you're watching Pitt Beyond the Script.
My name is Mike Hodder, and I'm a graphic designer for Field Sports. I've been at Nike for 15 years. We were briefed to create an alternate uniform for Pitt. They wanted to do something that was stand out and different, and they also wanted to give a nod to the steel community of Pittsburgh. We're just super excited about this alternate uniform, and we think it can really bring excitement to the team and the fans and a camaraderie, much like the steelworkers had back in the early 20th century. Pitt has a deep legacy. There was a lot of craftsmanship in building the Cathedral of Learning. Chancellor Bowman, he hired the best people. One of those was Samuel Yellen, and he was a premier blacksmith of his time, and he did some amazing things with steel. He did all the work on the gates of the Commons Room and all the railings and the light fixtures, and then the steel community surrounds Pitt, and it's steeped in that history and tradition. Altogether, it brought about the thesis statement of Forge the Future. If you really do good research, it will ring true. We wanted to inform the design with a story. Samuel Yellen, his counterparts called him the devil with a hammer in his hand, and we thought that would just be a fun way to kind of represent that little nod to Samuel Yellen. The anthracite, obviously, is to echo steel industry, and then the numbers echo the helmet as well. We wanted to highlight Pitt's new logo, Panther Head, so we put that on the side of the helmet, just in black, so it would pop off that steel. We also have on the sleeves the H2P, and we did it kind of in that US Steel logo. Steel, to bend it, to make it workable, you have to get it to a certain temperature, and visually that color is like a yellow whitish color. European immigrants that work at these steel refineries, they would invent these stories like John Henry, and they invited this guy, Joe Magarak, who is this superhuman. There's a famous painting of Joe Magarak, and he's got those hands that are glowing from the steel that he would hold with his bare hands and bend. That's why the glove looks like that. We have the glow underneath of the Panther, as if he was working in the blacksmith forge. The collar has the design from the gates at the front of the common rooms that Samuel Yellen's shop created. And it's just a culmination of a lot of work, a lot of research, and I hope that resonates with the players and the fans.
We got to play fast, with effort and execution. Let's go!
Welcome back to Pitt Beyond the Script alongside Pat Bostic. I'm Rob King of AT&T Sportsnet. Pat, let's get to the game that Coach Narduzzi afterwards basically said was an ugly game, an ugly win for the Panthers, but you'll take the victory even despite the way it came about.
Yeah, it's kind of a coach's dream. I mean, you win a game by 11 points and you've got a lot to correct. I'm certain the film room Sunday after the game wasn't a pleasant place to be. There were a lot of mental errors, obviously some undisciplined moments that you play a team like Louisville, you got to eliminate those. You're going to lose the football game. So fortunately, the Panthers were able to make enough plays to win.
Pick it over the middle and a touchdown to Wayne.
That's obviously all you want, and you got to learn from those mistakes. So a lot of them are correctable, and the things you're concerned about, obviously moving forward, are the kicking game. That's going to be critical. You're going to play a lot of close games. This schedule does not get any easier as we move forward. So the kicking game, it's critical, and then running the football. Took a step back against Syracuse. I think that's a good defense, but there was cause for concern with the inability to generate a running game.
Well, you talk about the kicking game, but also within the kicking game, and the field goals, right? 2 missed and 1 dropped on the snap, so Kessman didn't get a chance to kick that one, was in the punt game. You get a couple of penalties. That wound up costing him 30 to 40 yards in field position, you can't have that either. Pre-snap penalties and penalties in the kick.
Yeah, I mean, the field in the first quarter was tilted this way. I mean, Pitt down here, Syracuse up here. So it wasn't good. But you were able to get out of that with a couple big plays on offense. But the pre-snap stuff is what makes coaches lose their hair, go gray. It's the preventable stuff that mature veteran football teams shouldn't do. And that's why Pat Narduzzi probably lit into his team on Sunday, because you're knowing that you're going against a team like Louisville, then you got NC State, then you start getting the Clemsons of the world. Miami looks really good. Some teams on your schedule that you can't give them anything, or you're going to get beat. And the Panthers gave Syracuse enough to stay in that game. They're fortunate to get out with a win.
On the television broadcast, they're talking about the Panthers leading the nation in drop passes last year. We saw that happen again. As a former quarterback yourself, I know that's frustrating. But again, if you're going to be a team that wants to be able to control the clock and that prevents you from getting a first down, you can't have those kind of mistakes either.
Yeah, the one drop from Lucas Kroll, obviously he didn't play in the opener against Austin Peay. It was a little banged up. His first game action. The one drop's on a critical third down. And you keep drives alive. You're able to put points on the board there and put a team like Syracuse away. Honestly, you outplayed them. You should put them away, but it's drops like that not only do they hurt you in terms of the short term, they hurt you long term. Because, like it or not, you're Kenny Pickett. There's a couple drops start to string together. You get little voices in your mind like, should I go there? And he, at the end of the day, needs to trust his reads, and the defense will dictate where the ball goes. It shouldn't matter who the receiver is. I think he's got enough confidence in those guys that I think those guys will bounce back, particularly Lucas Kroll. But certainly, drop passes, you start saying, oh, not this again. And we don't want that to be a portent of what's going to happen throughout this season.
Let's remember, we are talking about a victory. So there's some good things that did happen. Kenny Pickett, I know you mentioned it on your radio broadcast, an unbelievable on-a-line throw to the freshman Addison, who's been really impressive. Clearly, they're trying to find ways to get him the ball, but love the throw by Pickett.
A little bit of pressure, steps up in the pocket, throws deep, and a touchdown for the Panthers.
Hopefully, we're seeing this offense grow into something that can not only drive the ball, but also come up with some explosive plays.
Yeah, the Panthers struggled in the red zone last year, and part of that, obviously, is the inability to run it, but part of it, too, was a lack of big plays to score touchdowns before you get to the red zone. And Pickett threw a touchdown in the high red area to Jordan Addison, which was about the 30-yard line. It was a beautiful throw, 35 yards on a strike. It's an NFL throw. Not a lot of guys can make that throw, and he was able to deliver it, obviously, to the freshman. And then the ball to Jared Wayne down the middle, him in his first game of the year, to punch that inside the red zone, to put points on the board, kind of to put that to a double-digit game was a big-time play. So there's enough on tape that this offense has a chance to be really good. Got to eliminate the penalties and self-inflicted wounds, the drops. And then I just think they need to be a little bit more consistent in the run game. But I love what I see from Kenny Pickett. Number 8 under center gives you a chance to win anytime you line up.
We can't, move on to the Louisville game before we talk about the defense. You'd love 3 sacks in a game. How about 3 sacks in the first quarter?
Cuse is going to run a play. Here comes Rashad Weaver in for the sack.
6 TFLs and then 7 sacks for the game. I thought they set the tone early and then came up with big plays when they needed it too late.
Yeah, the sacks early. It wasn't like it was a sieve to the quarterback. They were coverage sacks too, which is what you really love to see. Obviously, you lost Amari Mathis before the season started. You got Marquez Williams and AJ Woods playing out there opposite of Jason Pinnock. Those guys are solid in coverage on the back end, allowing those defensive linemen to go to work, even when you have a 3-4 man rush. That's big time, because then you're dropping 7-8 in coverage. You're able to occupy underneath zones, not give quarterbacks quick throws or running lanes, and get there with 4. Pat Narduzzi, if he had his druthers, would rush with 4 and cover. You love the blitz on third down, but if you can generate a 4-man pass rush, it opens up Pandora's box for what you can do with an offense.
Trying to find a screen, and that ball was picked off. Intercepted by Paris Ford.
And offensively cleaning up just a couple of things, perhaps, because Louisville probably, this is a high-powered offense. You might need to call on your offense to come up with some big drives or some big points in this game.
I'm not good at predictions, but I would say you're going to need to score more than 21 to beat this Louisville team. And so you got to go out this week and you got to execute. You got to score in the red zone. Those field goals you missed, they can't be a problem because you can't settle for field goals. You got to score 6 and get that extra point, obviously, for 7. But this will be a game where you got to score. Kenny Pickett and this offense need to take a big step, and the defense needs to continue doing what it's doing. But also, just keep in mind, this is going to be a different level of offense coming into Heinz Field this week, one they have not seen this year.
Pat, thanks very much. Look forward to your call coming up on Saturday.
All right, Rob, thank you.
All right, coming up next, first of all, Casey's going to be with Coach Narduzzi talking more about this Louisville game. Wanted to let you know about that. Also, we're going to catch up with Coach Waldrum of the women's soccer team when we resume on Pitt Beyond the Script.
Big Jack Steven! Big Jack Steven! Big Jack Steven!
Hey Panther fans, you showed us what it means to hail from home. Keep sending us your photos each week for a chance to be in next week's show.
Welcome back to Pitt Beyond the Script. Kevin Wheeler from Pitt Studios here, ACC Network producer, play-by-play announcer with women's head soccer coach Randy Waldrum. Randy, thanks for taking the time. We're going to take a walk here in a minute.
Okay.
But to get things started, I think we got to address the elephant in the room. And obviously we're standing here, no masks on, right? We're both tested, we're good, we're negative, we're in the bubble here at Pitt Soccer. What's it been like for you over the last few months?
Oh man, it's been crazy. You know, of course, everybody's kind of aware of the pandemic, and so I don't have to go into that. But it's been a roller coaster is probably a good way to describe it. You know, I think from the fact of March when we shut down, and then all of the months of going back and forth of whether we were really going to have a season or not have a season. And initially, when we thought it was just going to get delayed, and we're still going to have a full season, and then it looked like there for a week or two when a couple of the Power 5 conferences opted out altogether, it looked like, well, hey, we might not even be playing at all. And so it's been a real roller coaster ride, but you know, I give a lot of credit to not only our student athletes here at Pitt and our players, but really those across the country.
And as part of a rebuilding process, like it always is, youth and a foundation is important. 22 freshmen and sophomores on this team this year. Do you feel like you have a foundation and core to move forward with here?
I do think we have a good core. I think these two classes have given us a good, solid core. I think we're still a few players away from putting some of the pieces together to take the next jump, to get into that next level, that next tier that's in the ACC, and nationally, because you know we talk a lot about the ACC because it's such a good conference, but you know I want the program to be nationally competitive every year, and we don't want to be a one-time fluke where we get there 1 year and then we're out, and then we come back 2 years later and we're there again. We want to sustain excellence, and we want to get to a point where we're in the NCAA tournament every year. The ACC is a piece of that puzzle, but I do think we've got the foundation pieces in place. I think one more class this next year in our 2021 class, which is really a strong class for us as well, then I think we'll be much closer to having more of those pieces in place to get us where we want to be.
Let's keep walking here. Let's keep it moving. So your offense is something that has been amazing through the first 3 games. 13-1 goal differential over your opponents. You're out shooting opponents by 40 right now. Amazing numbers, things that Pitt women's soccer has never really seen before. What can you say about what this attack can turn into this year for you?
Well, the good thing is what we've done is we've added, you know, last year with Amanda West coming in and having the kind of year she had, which was great by any standards. And I think the good teams, as the year went on, started recognizing that's who you had to shut down, right?
It's on the right side with room. Amanda West cutting in and just sliding in time.
And they're able to deal with that. So we've added some more quality players that can take some of that load off. Sarah Sennett's come back from an injury last year, and she's done very well for us up front as well. And then I think you also have to look at the midfield players, not just that front line, those front 3 players. Those guys now are so much more athletic than we've had in midfield, and also so much more dangerous in goal scoring. We saw, Emily get her first goal this past week. So I think we've added some more pieces to that puzzle, which is great to see.
Coach, thanks so much for the time. That concludes our walk here on Pitt Beyond the Script. More to come right after this.
Pick it over the middle and a touchdown to Wayne. Well, we didn't mention Wayne's name all game long, and he makes 3 catches on this drive, including the finisher.
Just another day at the office.
Welcome back, Coach. This Louisville team is tough. They are fast. They have a lot of weapons on offense. How do you prepare for this, you and your defense?
Well, I think the first thing is, you've got to watch a lot of tape and know what they're doing. Everybody's got something to look at when you watch the videotape. Our guys are pretty good at stopping the run. We're going to get tested big time. It'll be a test to find out, can we stop the run, or are we just an average run defense? And, talked about grading the defense. This will be the next grade, the next test, and they certainly know how to run the ball. Their O-line coach does an outstanding job. They run a lot of the zone play, and they're chopping you and cutting you, and they're explosive up front.
You just mentioned that, but Coach Satterfield has, in his second year, 6 500-yard games on offense. How are they able to move that ball so well, not only on the receiving side, but also in the run game?
Well, they mix it up well. I mean, they're not putting their offense in bad positions, which is your job as a coach, is to do what they do well. They do a great job at running the ball. They get downhill. Tailbacks, Hawkins looks like he's been shot out of a cannon as he hits the line of scrimmage. 2-2s out there catching balls and nakeds, and the quarterback's running with it.
Again, that's going to be a great matchup for fans to see. Atwell versus Paris Ford, DeMar Hamlin. How are they prepping this week?
They're doing a great job. Obviously, it's a video review of knowing, who they are, where they are, what position are they in, what's the formation, where's the back, what's going to happen to you pre-snap. I mean, there's so much that happens prior to the ball being snapped that you need to know we'll be ready.
They gave up a lot of big plays last week. So on offense, are you guys excited? Are you going to take advantage of that, you and Coach Whipple?
Well, you prepare for the worst. We hope so. I mean, everybody likes to get big plays, and I think Miami had 2 back-to-back, a run and a pass that were exploded and blew the game back open in that second half. So, we just got to execute, and those things happen when you execute.
And you mentioned you watched the game immediately once you get home, right? You finished our game and then watched that Louisville-Miami game?
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it.
It's a family affair?
It's a family affair. We watch every game together, and my kids are as into it as I am, so, and the wife as well.
That's a great tradition. I like that. Now, looking to Saturday, look good, play good. These new uniforms, fans are excited about them. It was hard to keep a secret.
Yeah, I mean, we've held on to that secret. I think most of our recruits in the last 2 years have seen it, but to be able to put this on, I think is going to be exciting for our kids. It's a new look. It's something, recruits love. Our players love it. I think the coaches love it. I think Coach Partridge, I retweeted him today.
I saw it, yeah.
He was all excited about having the new color gear in his locker, and it'll be fun to go out there in something else. And it's got a little Steel City feel to it. I think it's an exciting opportunity for our kids.
It certainly is. Well, thank you, Coach, and good luck on Saturday, a noon game.
Thanks, Casey.
All right. Well, thank you once again for tuning in. That was another edition of Pitt Beyond the Script.
ACC champs on 3, 1, 2, 3. ACC champs.